Hey YouTube, ChannelMST here, bringing you a deck profile. Today we're going to be going over windups. This deck got top 16 at YCS Dallas. No windup build made it to top 8, so this is the highest position that windups got. And so this is pretty much one of the top builds currently in the meta. Okay, so we're going to start off with the deck list and then move on to the deck discussion. So to start off, we got 1 Veiler, 1 Gores, 2 Max C, 1 Sengen, 1 Snowman, 1 Reaper, 3 Tour Guide, 1 Hunter, 1 Magician, 2 Rabbit, 3 Rat, 3 Shark. And then moving on to spells, we got 1 Book, 1 Dark Hole, 1 Heavy, 2 Instant Fusions, 1 Mind Control, 1 Reborn, 3 MST, 1 POA, 1 Factory. Moving on to the traps, we got 1 Compulse, 2 Fiendish Chain, 3 Solemn, and 2 Torrents. Moving on to the side deck, we have 1 Veiler, 1 Max C, 1 Snowman, 1 Reaper, 2 Prohibition, 2 Smash, 2 BTH, 1 Compulse, 2 D-prison and 2 Tornadoes. Moving on to the extra deck, we have 2 level 3 fusions, 1 level 5 fusion, 1 Adrian, 1 Leviair, 1 Leviathan, 1 Giga Brilliant, 1 number 30, 1 Utopia, 1 Tiraz, 1 Zen Mayo, 3 Zen Mighty, and 1 Zen Mains. And that does it for the deck list. Moving on to the deck discussion, we'll start with the extra deck. The extra deck is pretty standard here. The only thing I'd probably add would be 1 Roach, just because of the current meta adding in dragons, and so I'd probably maybe get rid of a Zen Mayo. Also, I'd probably want to add in a level 4 fusion, just because of mind control with instant fusion if you take control of your opponent's Thunder King, for example, or instant fusion with Shark. So basically allows you rank 4 access. However, I'm not sure what I would take out for the level 4 fusion, though that would be kind of iffy there. I might take out the Zen Mayo for the level 4 fusion, I'm not really sure there. Just depending on how this deck matches up against dragons would determine which one I'd probably put in. Moving on to the side deck, we have 2 Tornadoes for Macrocosmos and Prohibition. The player running this deck said that he would side this for Dark Worlds. And then we got 2 D-prison for good removal, 1 Compulse for good spot removal and good chain ability, 2 Bottomless Trap Hole for removal and possibly against the Rat matchup, 2 Smashing Grounds to get rid of big monsters, 2 Prohibition against the meta decks for calling stuff like Tour Guide, also good against Dark World and Hero Beat. This card is seeing a lot of play in pretty much all the decks because of stuff like Tour Guide. And then moving on, we have 1 Reaper, 1 Snowman to add on 2 more defense for the deck, along with the 2 that are already in the deck. And then we have 1 Max C, mainly for the mirror, and then 1 Veiler for the mirror and for Insectors. Moving on to the main deck, we have 2 Torrents for clearing the board. These also combo with Zen Mains, Tiraz, Sengen, Rabbit, and so forth. And then 3 Solemn for shutting down the deck after you loop, or for keeping or gaining control of the game. And then 2 Fiendish Chain for obvious reasons, 1 Tech Compulse, because it's good in the meta, and it combos with the deck. It allows us to reuse stuff like Tour Guide and Snowman, Gores, and windups, as well as to stop stuff when they Veiler your Tour Guide, for example, or try to destroy your face-up Reaper. And so yeah, combos with the deck, and very good against the meta. 1 Windup Factory. I'm not really sure why this is being run. The player piloting the deck said that 2 and 3 seemed too much, and that with 1, whenever he drew it, it was live. I personally would replace this with the Veiler to better combat the mirror for game 1 if we go second, and also to combat Insectors game 1. Then moving on, we have 3 MST. This is very good for stuff like Skill Drain, Fiendish Chain, Macrocosmos, and also if you want to go off and they only have 1 back row. So maining this is pretty good just for that kind of stuff, because our deck does have a lot of weaknesses to it. And then we have 2 Instant Fusions. Fits very well in the deck for early game loops, also for mid game and late game pushes with stuff like Leviathan, Giga Brilliant, or Acid Golem. And this also gives us access to rank 5s. This is kind of becoming a standard in windups to be able to run Instant Fusions because it just fits so well in the deck. And then moving on to the monsters, we have 3 Shark for obvious reasons, we can't really go below that, 3 Rat for the obvious reason to loop. And then we have 2 Rabbit. It's pretty good just at 2, because you still see it, so you can still pull off its strategy a lot. And we can also search it out to pull off its combos, just kind of going down to 2 to save space, basically. 1 Magician. This is very good at 1 just because it's kind of sometimes a dead draw and can cause us to have awkward fields if they max C in response to going like Summon Magician, Summon Shark. So having 1 is very good because we can search it out with Zen Mighty, and then use Shark's effect, Special Summon, and then use Magician's effect to Special Summon another Shark, for example. So basically it's a free summon in a lot of cases, and also it gives us defense, and it also combos with Compulse. And then 1 Hunter for the obvious reason to be able to loop. And then 3 Tour Guides, and 1 Sengen for the Tour Guide engine, and then 1 Reaper and 1 Snowman, basically for good defense and helps us against the Rabbit matchup. Simon He ran 2 Snowman in his Nano Rabbit deck for the 100th YCS, and this past weekend the 2nd place Rabbit deck for Toulouse, France ran 1 Reaper and 1 Snowman. So maining one of each is becoming a trend nowadays, except for insectors where they have to run two, just because of allure and it fits in the deck because they have a lot of field destruction and they need to go for the hand. And then we have, for the hand traps, we have 2 Max C, 1 Veiler, and 1 Gores. And like I said, the only thing in the deck I would change is I would take out 1 Factory for another Veiler in order to have better game 1s if we go second against the mirror, and also better game 1s against insectors. And that does it for the deck profile. ChannelMST signing off.